we're back here on the GSMC Baseball Podcast, bringing you our third segment. But again, before we do that, I'd like to ask you to please like and follow the show. We do get a number of questions from viewers, so to show that each question does get read in the air, please do the link, gsmcpodcast.net. Really does love the show. Really does mean a lot, so thank you so much for that. And let's get back into the show for today. All right, so, there we go. Third segment we are going to talk about is kind of a continuation of the second segment. It's a different player, but it's kind of the same thing. I did a to trade or to not trade segment with with Mason Miller last time, and now I'm going to be talking about it with Tarik Skubal, the ace of the Detroit Tigers. So let's get into it. There's been a lot of trade rumors about Tarik Skubal, if the Tigers should trade him, if they will trade him, what the prospect capital could be like, and I just want to talk about it. So the interesting thing with Skubal is he is a Cy Young frontrunner. I would be very confident saying that I think as of right now, Skubal is the Cy Young frontrunner in the American League. I would say it's him and Corbin Burnes really in kind of a class of their own, but I would still put Skubal above Corbin Burnes. But overall, Skubal is a Cy Young frontrunner who has been connected a lot in trade rumors, which is very, very interesting to me. So I did just want to talk about it and just go over, should the Tigers trade him or not? What are the benefits to both sides? So, first of all, the question should be asked, should the Tigers trade Tarik Skubal? Yes or no? Before, when I talked about Mason Miller, which was the last segment, I'm sure it's on the channel if you're watching this on YouTube later tonight, I said the A's should trade Mason Miller. Now, my answer to should the Tigers trade Tarik Skubal, I don't know. And that's an honest answer. I think basically what the Tigers should do is listen to offers, but do everything you can not to trade him. I've talked about my love for Tarik Skubal on this show before, and I'm going to continue talking about it. Here's what I'll say. Here, I'm going to put it as bluntly as I possibly can. I think Tarik Skubal is a generational type pitcher who can be an ace of a team for the next 15 years and can be a first ballot Hall of Famer. That's how highly I think of Tarik Skubal. That's how highly I think of his stuff. His changeup is out of this world. His fastball is great. His other pitches as well are pretty fantastic for third type pitches, for secondary type pitches. And if I'm the Tigers, I'm going to need a lot to get him to pry him away from me. Now, usually there would be a 0% chance I would say that a team should trade a pitcher like this. But the situation the Tigers find themselves in right now with their franchise is an interesting one to talk about. Right now, they are in a crisis with their hitting. A crisis. They have maybe one good hitter for the future, which is Riley Green. Now, going into this year, they were expecting a few good hitters for the future. Spencer Torkelson, who was the first overall pick a few years ago. Parker Meadows, a top prospect. Colt Keith, a top prospect who they gave an extension. Now, let me tell you where those three guys are. Spencer Torkelson is in AAA, not doing too hot. Colt Keith is not having the greatest season, and Parker Meadows is also in AAA. All three have really not done well this year. And the fact is, you do not have many good hitters for the future. You have Riley Green, who I think is fantastic, and it can be a great, great superstar type hitter for this Tigers team in the future. Was an all-star this year, very well deserved. The problem is, other than him, you have nothing. How confident at this point are you in that Parker Meadows will become an above-average MLB player? Spencer Torkelson will start hitting. I'm actually pretty confident in Colt Keith, though. I think he's been better this second half. I think that there is still a world where Colt Keith can become a very good player, and he's only 1 year within his contract, so I do think that Colt Keith could be a pretty good player. So let's say you have two guys there. Two guys that you can look at for the future in Colt Keith and Riley Green and say, hey, you know what? They're going to be part of our lineup for a long time. And the problem is you don't have anyone else. I'm just not that confident in Parker Meadows and Spencer Torkelson for the future. So now, as much as I love Tarik Skubal, and as much as I think he's great and fantastic, with where the Tigers are right now, and with the prospect capital they get, it's going to be interesting. Now, two teams have been really connected to him, the Orioles and the Dodgers. Now, I want to mainly focus on the Orioles. The question for the Tigers becomes, if the Orioles offer you a package that is Jackson Holliday, one of Samuel Basallo and Colby Mayo, and then another prospect, a hitting prospect, let's say Enrique Bradfield Jr., for example, who could be up next year, how do you say no to that? With the offense where it is, you're getting Jackson Holliday, who, yes, has struggled in the major leagues, still has a ton of potential, still is the top prospect in all of baseball. Let's not forget how good he is in the minors. Let's not forget he's barely even 20. How do you say no to that? You're transforming your lineup. You're going to get Basallo or Mayo, two guys who are going to be franchise hitters types that I think are fantastic. Holiday, a franchise shortstop type, and then you're getting another top hitting prospect like, let's say, one of three of Enrique Bradfield Jr., Connor Norby, and Dylan Beavers. It's very hard to say no for that. And believe me, I don't understand if the Tigers did. It's just a question mark. Can you say no to that? Where your offense looks for the future. Now, your pitching after trading Skubal wouldn't be that hot. If they trade Skubal, would they then, instead of trying to trade Jack Flaherty, who is going to be a top trade chip at this deadline, would you instead try to extend him, make him a big part of your rotation in the future, add him in with, of course, Reese Olson, who's become a nice part of your future, Casey Mize, who I still think has some potential, and then Jackson Jobe, who will come up in the future. Do you do that? But the question is now, who's going to be your ace? So, again, I think Skubal is absolutely fantastic. I think he is a generational type pitcher. I predict him to win the Cy Young before the year. That's how highly I think of him. Obviously, I'm assuming I'm going to get that right with how it's going right now. So, the Tigers have a big decision on their hands. Now, it's mainly been the Orioles and the Dodgers, and I think that overall, both teams should be doing everything they can to trade for Skubal. Again, that's how I think so highly of this guy. And if the Orioles or Dodgers get any indication that the Tigers are all listening to offers, that's who I'm blowing up the farm for. If you hold on to farm system players to hopefully be a competitive team, to call them up, and then if you can't call them up, you trade them for a superstar type player. A superstar young type player in Skubal where you're getting 2.5 years of control. And like Basallo, for example. He's blocked by Adley Rutschman. As much as he's a great prospect, where does he fit in for the future? Jackson Holiday. They have a ton of good infield prospects, and I'm sure Holiday will be better than them. But if you trade him, it's not exactly like you're missing a huge dynamic part of your future. Now, we've heard that they really don't want to trade Kobe Mayo, but I'm sure the Tigers don't want to trade Tarik Skubal, so it's not exactly like you're getting the short end of the stick here. So, and I just want to say now, if the Orioles, can somehow finesse a trade for Tarik Skubal and have a top two of your rotation of Corbin Burnes and Tarik Skubal, give them the World Series trophy now. With that offense, that's unbeatable. I'm sorry. If I'm the Orioles, I'm doing everything I can to trade for him. And guess what? The Dodgers, same thing. They've also been connected to him. If you can have a rotation fully healthy of Yoshinobu Yamamoto, Clayton Kershaw, Tyler Glasnow, Tarik Skubal, Bobby Miller, Walker Buehler, Emmett Sheehan, even more guys. I'm sure I'm forgetting, not James Paxton because they just DFA'd him for some odd reason. That's insane. These two teams have the ability to get him, are contenders, they make sense, and I'm doing everything I can to get him if he is available. Now, thinking about it, I still don't think the Tigers should trade him, but I think they should listen. I just think Skubal is too good to trade, and looking at it towards the future, personally, to be honest, the thing here is now it's easier to develop hitters than pitchers, so you could sign some guys, but overall, it's going to be a very interesting thing to watch out for in the future, and this Tigers team is going to be interesting to see. How are they going to deal with going into next year? Who are they going to get with Jack Flaherty? Where are they going to trade him? I think he makes perfect sense for a lot of teams needing pitching, mainly the Astros and the Dodgers. I'm going to have a show at some point this week and get my full trade deadline predictions. I'm thinking Wednesday or Thursday, but don't hold me on that, so we'll have to see. We'll be talking about him there, of course. So, overall, the Tigers have a very interesting future to look ahead towards. What are they going to do about Jack Flaherty? Are they going to trade Tarik Skubal? Personally, I don't think they will, but if they should, it's an interesting debate. What happens with their offense, what happens with the future of Spencer Torkelson is, I think, an underrated storyline heading into the trade deadline as well. So, very interesting team to watch in the future, and I'm very interested and excited to see what happens with this team. So that is our third segment here, talking about Tarik Skubal and if the Tigers should trade him or not, to trade or to not trade, as I put it, kind of giving a nice little spin on it. Going into our fourth segment here, which is going to be talking about Rookie of the Year and some predictions there. I did Cy Young and MVP on my show on Friday, so I didn't have a chance to do Rookie of the Year. So I did just want to go over that. So yeah, we'll be doing that, and we'll see you after the break. So thanks, and bye.
For the best and latest podcasts available anywhere, go to the podcast app on your cell phone and type in GSMC to access free content-rich podcasts on health and wellness, book reviews, sports, entertainment, relationships, social media, movies, technology, finance, and even weird news. Subscribe and download the GSMC Podcast Network's family of shows, available everywhere podcasts are found.